guys. Welcome to Andromeda 7, your celestial gateway and community portal. How are you guys doing tonight? Oh my gosh. Thank you so much for coming.
Great. Doing great, Crystal. Yeah.
Goofball.
I love it. I love your goofiness.
Well, it's just blame it on the coffee.
You're wired. That's what it is.
Yeah. It's good stuff. I made it a little bit too strong.
Nice.
All right, you guys. So let's just say hello to everybody in the chat. Brenda's in the house. Drum stud for you. Never heard of you. Hi, welcome.
Glad you're here.
Glad you're here. Thank you so much for joining us. We have Grandpa Brian. Did I say Deborah Sloan's in the house? Brenda's in the house. Elder Barry.
Barry. Squirrel buddy.
Mary Wins. What's up, Mary Wins? Thank you so much.
Mary.
And Kelly.
Mary.
Hey, Kelly.
Hi,
Kels. Mr. David Castle's in the house. Greetings and favor to you.
And Rufus. Don't forget.
And don't forget Rufus.
Rufus is amazing.
Rufus
is so cute. Isn't he adorable?
Yeah.
And Project Skyfall's high. And Lucky Stone. My gosh, you almost got lost there in those woods the other day, eh?
The tall grass, right?
Yeah, tall grass.
Yeah.
Watch out for them chiggers and ticks. And Gaza's backyard. Hey, Gaza.
Hey, Gaza.
Hi, Gaza.
And let's see. I don't want to miss anybody. I just want to make sure I got everybody. I think so. Did I miss anybody?
I think you got everybody.
Did I get everybody?
Yeah.
I think you did.
All right. Awesome.
Yeah.
All
you're
right,
good.
guys. Well, as you know, Miss Trina Phoenix has joined us tonight, along with Dalibor, Teresa, me, and Lori, who's driving the bus. So give her some rad respect in the chat. All right, you guys, we're going to talk a little bit about alchemy because that seems to be one of our favorite subjects. I know it's one of my favorite subjects, but this is about creating your own colloidal silver and Ormus, and Dalibor has a wealth of knowledge about some of the materials that you can easily access. And if not, you can, look just a little bit and find them easily accessible and transmute these into maybe a substance that you would find very beneficial for your health. So this is going to be a really interesting chat. Now, John is not here yet. Max Vision is not here yet. So we're just going to improvise a little bit until we get a hold of him. And let's just, you know what? Let's just roll the film, guys. Let's just roll
him.
Yeah. All right.
Well,
so Teresa, go ahead, Dalibor.
Well, I guess I could start out by giving a brief history of how Ormus was discovered. Or
wait a minute. We have a message. We have a message from Brenda. Yeah.
Yeah. Let's do our
Sorry,
message.
Dalibor.
It's okay.
No problem.
We'll read this and then we'll get on to the juicy good stuff.
Yeah, sounds good.
All right.
Sounds good.
Okay. This is a little cute story from Brenda. All right. This is called The Starfish Story. An old man was walking on the beach one morning after a storm. In the distance, he could see someone moving like a dancer. As he came closer, he saw that it was a young woman picking up starfish and gently throwing them into the ocean. Young lady, why are you throwing starfish into the ocean? The sun is up, the tide is going out, and if I don't throw them in, they will die, she said. But young lady, don't you realize that there are many miles of beach and thousands of starfish? You cannot make a difference. She listened politely, then bent down, picked up another starfish and tossed it into the sea. It made a difference for this one. And that's the story of the starfish. All right.
Thank you, Brenda. That's so cool.
Wasn't that
great?
beautiful?
I love that story.
Yeah. I'll never forget the bucket one. That was really amazing.
Yeah, the bucket.
Aren't starfish usually 5-pointed?
Yes.
Yeah.
Usually. Yeah, they are.
5. Yeah, I thought so. Yeah, if I remember.
Yes.
Because we don't have an ocean nearby, so I don't remember. But,
yep, they're 5-pointed. Yep, they sure are. And we would do the same thing. We'd be chucking them so they didn't sit there on the beach and, bleach out and dry out and stuff. So
just collect them.
Yeah, me too. Yeah, the ones that didn't make it, you kind of collect them because they're really beautiful.
Yeah.
But they're a fascinating creature. They're just one of those creatures that clean the ocean. So we want those in there, keeping that ocean and the sand clean too. They're like our our filter friends, you know.
Filter friends.
Don't be mean to your filter friends.
Sounds like a Nemo Nemo 3, right?
Yeah, searching for Nemo. Yeah.
Your filter friends. Never know.
Finding Nemo, searching for my star.
Y'all, that was so cute. All right, that was awesome. Okay.
All right, Dalibor. We're sorry, but we didn't want to.
No problem whatsoever. No. So, since the topic of tonight's discussion is Ormus, I think a brief history of Ormus would be in order.
Yes.
The earliest references to Ormus as such would be either in the Bible or the Egyptian Book of the Dead or the Egyptian pyramid texts. Both refer to a white powder of gold. These references appear a couple of times, like notably in the part of Exodus where the Israelites, Moses goes up the mountain, then he comes back down, and the Israelites are worshiping a golden calf. So he orders the golden calf burned and forces all the Israelites to eat the white ashes. I mean, on the surface, that doesn't make any sense because you can't burn gold, and even if you could, it wouldn't form any kind of white ash. It doesn't make any sense. So,
Yeah.
fast forward to the 1970s. There's a man named David Hudson, and he's a cotton farmer in Arizona, and he's having some issues. Yeah, some issues with his cotton production. So he's doing some analysis of the soil, and he's trying to figure out like which nutrients he needs to add or take away or whatever. And he starts playing around with it, doing various experiments, and he figures out that if he mixes it with water, then takes the soil away, just decants the water, and then adds sodium hydroxide to it, that it forms a white milky mixture, which when settled out forms a white powder on the bottom and water on the top, which when he decants, the white powder is like this pure anomalous white powder that he has no idea where it came from. So he takes it to a lab, has it analyzed, and they do a couple of tests on it, and they can't really figure out what it is. So usually what they do is they put it on a so-called combustion train where they burn it at a high temperature. And he says, well, if you're not getting any results, instead of putting it on for 60 seconds, put it on for 90 seconds. So they did that, and they find anomalous amounts of heavy metals like gold, iridium, silver, palladium, copper, and so on and so forth. And he's like, where's that coming from?
Yeah, really?
So he starts extracting this in larger quantities, and he discovers that among other qualities, that it has electrostatic capabilities. It also exhibits a degree of anti-gravity and some invisibility, which I personally have not observed when I've
Invisibility. That's
invisibility.
surprising.
Yeah.
That makes me think of crop circles.
Huh.
Almost, yeah. I mean, I've never observed any invisibility with Ormus, but
well,
Ormus,
how would you observe invisibility? You wouldn't be able to see
good
it.
point. Good point.
Can I say it? Doy!
No,
Silly. You silly
I'm
girl.
like, that one, I don't think we're going to be able to get visually.
Can't
I don't
detect
think
it.
No.
we don't capture the invisibility part.
That's
But
so
I bet
funny.
you're right with that, and I bet you people see it with their inner eye.
Yes.
yeah.
See the
I've
alchemy happen.
definitely
Okay.
got some. It has very subtle effects. The effects of Ormus are not as pronounced as you would get from, say, even a vitamin, or even something like I don't know, zinc supplements, which do affect like your digestion and stuff like that. Ormus has effects that are a bit more subtle than that. Well, anyway, to make a long story short, the way most people make, or I should say, extract Ormus, is by extracting it from sea salt. Because using various trial and error methods, it's been found that Ormus is most concentrated in certain things like sea salt, certain forest soils, certain minerals, and like dried ashes of certain types of meat products, like notably the brains of cattle. Like when those are dried out and burned and then calcined and then reacted, you get Ormus from that. So, but since those are inaccessible to most people, it's easier to make it out of sea salt, which you can buy in a grocery store, usually in the cosmetic section, as a bath salt, as a bath additive. So what you normally do is you take the sea salt and you reconstitute that to make sea water by adding water, and then you add predetermined amounts of sodium hydroxide to it. But the key is to keep the pH concentration, the pH level at below 7.8, because what you want is to get only the Ormus gold, or only certain types of Ormus. You don't want necessarily the Ormus of mercury or some of the other more poisonous metals, because actually Ormus is a acronym for orbitally rearranged monatomic element, and it's a different state of matter where, just like you have solid, liquid, gas, and plasma, so you have Ormus. And Ormus is a state where the individual atoms of the elements are separate. They don't mix in the form of like a lattice structure, as in a crystal, or chemically together, as in a chemical compound. They're like free individual atoms. That's why it behaves.
Sir.
Sure.
I have a question, sir. Is the hydrogen peroxide, does that need to be the food grade, or can you get that in the grocery store, the watered down stuff?
Well, no, it's not hydrogen peroxide. It's sodium hydroxide.
Oh,
sodium
lye.
hydroxide,
Oh, okay.
lye, which would be a toilet bowl cleaner.
Yeah,
but
I got all of that.
Although that is poisonous, you get all of that out. You get
the process.
Through the process of the
Okay.
decantations.
I get that.
What you do, or what I do when I make it out of sea salt, is I take 2 packages or 2,000 grams, 2 kilos of sea salt, mix it with enough water to make a decent amount of seawater in a pot that's about 5 liters or 1 gallon, and then add exactly 268 grams of sodium hydroxide, mixed half and half with sodium bicarbonate, which is baking soda. In other words, it's 134 grams of NaOH and 134 grams of baking soda. Because when I calculated that, it gives you a pH of less than 7.8. Keep in mind that the pH has to be less than 7.8, so it doesn't have to be exact. It's not an exact science. Once you add that to the saltwater solution, it instantly changes into pure white, pure milky white. If you suspect that the sea salt that you're getting is less than pure, you may want to filter that before you add the sodium hydroxide and the baking soda to it. So it reacts, it forms like a milky colloid, which it theoretically should not. I mean, if you look online, reaction between sodium chloride and sodium hydroxide, there should be 0 reaction whatsoever, because those are 2 salts that shouldn't react at all. So anyway, you let that sit for about 2 days, and what you'll notice is a white, pure white sludge at the bottom and clear water at the top. So what you want to do is you want to take off all that clear water from the top without disturbing any of the sludge at the bottom. The sludge at the bottom is the Ormus, or contains the Ormus, I should say. So you do that by a process of decantation, where you stick a tube in it and suck it out. But with the first decantation, you have to be really careful, because you have a high concentration of sodium hydroxide in there, and that is caustic. You don't want to get that on your skin, clothing, carpet, floor.
What do you use to extract it with then?
Yeah, I was going to ask
Maybe
you
a little
that.
suction bulb.
Well, in those quantities, you can't really do it practically with a suction bulb. What I use is just a regular tube. I'm really careful. I suck it out and I set it up next to my sink, and it all goes into the sink.
Oh, hey, it'll clean out your sink too.
And you as well, if you
So
swallow that.
you're siphoning it.
Just have to be really. Especially for the
Careful.
first decantation, you got to be really careful because that stuff is caustic and toxic.
Wow. Wow.
So once you get as much of that water off, that clear water off the Ormus as you can, you fill it again with the same amount of water. You add more water to it and you mix it thoroughly, and you let that sit for 2 days again. That's going to be your second decantation. Then you decant all of that again. This is also slightly toxic, but less so than the first decantation, which doesn't have as high a concentration of the sodium hydroxide in it. And you basically repeat the same exact process 7 times or 8 times. I've noticed a couple of anomalous effects that around the ninth decantation, the edge of the container starts getting sticky for some unknown reason, and you'll notice as the decantations progress that it takes a shorter and shorter amount of time for you to get clear water at the top and a white paste at the bottom. Except around the ninth decantation, that's kind of an anomaly where it takes like 3 or 4 days for it to completely settle out, to get for the upper part to be completely clear and for the bottom to be completely, solid white. So once you do this 7 times or however many times you feel like doing it, you should do it a minimum of 5 times. Then you just take that out, put it in some kind of a pan, and heat it gently to evaporate all the water off. Once you evaporate all the water off, that's your Ormus, and you can start taking it in quantities of say 1 teaspoon per day.
So you just add that to water, just regular water?
I just eat it. I just eat it and swallow some water afterwards to get the taste out, because it doesn't really have a taste per se. It tastes kind of vaguely like chalk. So it's it's not
just
the
do
best
a quick
tasting.
toss and wash. You put a little water in your mouth without swallowing it, and you put that powder on top and then swallow it all down. It's a little easier that way. I call it a toss and wash.
Sure, yeah.
That'd be easier. Yeah.
And that's basically the Ormus. See, the reason why people say that it exhibits unnatural effects is because, like I said, the sea salt is not supposed to contain more than 10% impurities. Now, the Ormus is not necessarily contained in those impurities. You're merely extracting it from whatever's left over from the reaction between the salt and the sodium hydroxide. So if you do the math, you take 2,000 grams of salt, add 134 grams of baking soda, 134 grams of lye, sodium hydroxide, and in my situation, I get about 240 grams of pure Ormus, pure dried Ormus, which looks approximately like this. Okay, this is just a sample, and if you notice that it's sticking to the edge of the jar.
Around the edge, yeah.
And again, it shouldn't do that because it's pure powder. It's pure powder that's been extracted using sodium hydroxide and purified like 12 times. So anyway, you get 241 grams. And normally, if you look it up, sea salt shouldn't contain more than about 10%. 10% of impurities. That, in other words, compounds that are different from salt or sodium chloride or potassium chloride. As to where that extra matter is coming from, nobody really knows.
Really?
So, nobody really knows. And a lot of people have reported that when they first take the Ormus, the effect is most pronounced. And in my situation, the effect I noticed most was that I had an easier trouble falling asleep. I've had insomnia since I was about 14 years old, and this helped me, but only for about 2 weeks. Despite the fact that I take it regularly nowadays, it doesn't have the same effect as it did that first time that I took it.
When I started taking it the first week, I slept like a log, and then about a week later, I didn't sleep anywhere near as good as I did that first week. So maybe it's just your body absorbing the
immunity.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
So what I did was I was taking it, and then I ran out. Of course, I ran out of it before I made a new batch, and so that took about that took me about another week or two to make a new batch. And then when I took it again, I noticed the same effect with the sleep. So in other words, if you want to get a really good night's sleep, I would say abstain from taking the Ormus for about a week or two, and then take some. And by some, I mean about one heaping teaspoonful. Yeah.
How did you get involved in that?
Yes.
Well, it's I read up online about it. I was always interested in like the Egyptian texts, like what exactly does the white powder of gold mean? And this seems to fit the bill because they've discovered workshops in Egyptian territory, not necessarily like the Nile River Valley or anything like that, but in the Sinai, where they discovered, certain crucibles, vats, and stuff that had remnants of this stuff, of Ormus in it. And typically if you would extract it from using primitive technology, like let's say you were using like a bag filter that's conically shaped, and then you were to dry it inside it, just like when they extract, sugar or salt or whatever, it's usually sold in conical forms, in the form of like cones. And a lot of these deities, specifically Thoth, the god of wisdom and inventor of writing and so forth, he's depicted holding a cone or pine cone shaped item in his right hand. So is Ahura Mazda, the ancient Sumerian deity.
Yeah.
So, that kind of aroused my curiosity a bit. And I also looked up the U.S. patent for conversion of Ormus or I should say conversion of gold in its Ormus state to metallic state. In other words, you can take this stuff that you extract from sea salt, and there's a U.S. patent on it where you can actually extract gold from this, yellow gold. Yes, there's an actual patent. Yeah.
There would have to be such large quantities of that powder to do that.
Well, actually, it's not that large. Not so much. No, it's just that the process is very difficult, very expensive. You need things like hydrofluoric acid, which nobody can get unless you have a chemist's license.
Business.
And I wouldn't.
So that's why they don't do it. It's too costly.
It's also dangerous.
Costly. It's just not practical.
No, it's not practical.
Yeah.
No.
Yeah.
So I've also extracted Ormus out of a rock, and it was specifically a massive quartzite that had a matrix or a base of limestone, and I basically just wanted to get rid of the limestone so I could have the pretty crystals. It was rose crystal, and this is all that's left of it. It's a small piece like this big.
Wow.
Of rose quartz. Well, anyway, as I was dissolving this and it was dissolving away, a lot of the quartz crystals were coming off because they were embedded inside this matrix. So I figured, hey, why don't I try to extract Ormus from this too? So I started, as I was changing out the vinegar, I started saving that. And then once I had enough of it, I filtered this so as to get all the quartz crystals out, and then mixed it with enough water and did the same procedure to it as I would to the sea salt, which means I played it by ear. Basically, I added about, I don't know, maybe 2 teaspoons of baking soda and sodium hydroxide to it, and I got the same exact Ormus, tasted the same, and had pretty much the same effect. So yeah, you can extract it from anything pretty much. Yeah, but what's really anomalous is the fact that you can even look this up on YouTube. If you look up a reaction, and there's a good video of it out there, sodium hydroxide solution reacting with sodium chloride solution, there is no reaction. Same with potassium chloride. None.
So there's nothing to the suggestion that others have made in their many online discussions that you get the purest forms of Ormus from the most ancient sands of the oceans near Australia, off the coast of Australia, or near Egypt, when you're using their black. So so they're claiming that there's certain spots in the world
Sure.
have a more powerful content, you get a more pure form of Ormus. Is that true?
Yes, it is true. Yeah, you can use Himalayan salt. You can use the pink salt. You can use the Australian stuff or the Egyptian stuff. It's just that I didn't have access to any of that stuff. I just used Dead Sea salt, which costs about 2.5 euros per kilo.
Mm-hmm.
So that batch basically cost me a little over 5 euros to make for 241 grams, which is about one bucket, one yogurt bucket. About this big.
Yeah.
So basically it's a lot cheaper to make your own than to buy it.
Yeah, Isby's in here. He uses the pink rock salt to make his Ormus.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, you can also use like an old salt lamp because those are usually the pink salt. I've made it out of pink salt as well. And again, you get more material out of it than you would expect. You know, you're only supposed to have like 10% impurities in there, which means stuff that isn't salt, and so whatever's reacting with the sodium hydroxide is something that's insoluble in water, which a lot of people have theorized is probably calcium oxide. Now, calcium oxide is lime, and that is in fact what the Romans used for cement. Now,
that's true.
If you take the Ormus and you mix it with sand, you do not get cement. In other words, it is not calcium hydroxide. So it is not cement or concrete. So,
yeah, I was going to say, why don't they use some of that? Now, Isby saying on the shores of the Pacific is a source, but why don't they use more of the like the ancient Egyptians did before they started using the salts? My understanding was that they were actually mining for the ore itself, the pure gold ore itself.
Exactly.
And they had a process of breaking it down.
Exactly. Just like there is an actual U.S. patent for making gold out of Ormus, out of the white powder of gold, there is an actual patent for doing the reverse of taking yellow gold and converting it into this. Really.
I don't want to appear ignorant, but why in the heck would they patent that?
Because by patenting it,
they're preventing you from doing it yourself?
No, they're not preventing you. They're actually publicizing it. They're just preventing you from commercializing it. They're preventing you from making a profit on it.
Why? Yeah. If it's a free mineral.
I don't know.
So much there goes the free society.
I don't know.
The United States government put a patent on us taking natural material out of the earth to create a product that could be beneficial to our health.
Happens all the time. Happens all the time.
Only if they make a bunch of money off of it.
Jeez, Trina.
Happens all the time. So, I wouldn't put it past them.
Good grief! If I were only Gaia.
So doesn't that sound? This kind of reminds me of the story of the manna from heaven a little bit.
Some people have equated Ormus to manna from heaven. Yes, that is a valid comparison. Except that in the story in the Bible, it just literally appears out of. It goes bad. Ormus never goes bad.
Yeah,
first of all. Second of all, this would appear in the desert every morning, kind of like dew. So it's not something that needed to be extracted. It just appeared. So again, that doesn't meet the same conditions as Ormus. So I would suggest it also. Some people have suggested that it could be cocaine. That cocaine was the white powder of gold because they actually did find traces of cocaine in the wrappings of the mummies, and
mummies.
The cocaine mummies, which only really establishes the fact that they did have trade relations with South America.
Oh yes.
That's
they did.
The only thing that establishes. But as to whether or not they would consider it the white powder of gold, why would they call it the white powder of gold?
Yeah.
It doesn't make sense.
Well, it seems to me that this is getting down to the very base elemental minerals.
Yes.
And you know, in the Bible it says, "Ye are of the salts of the earth. If you lose your salt, you lose your savor." I think it's about the restoration of the body and its need for specific minerals. And this might be one of the minerals known to extend your telomeres, to increase your brain,
Well,
to
it
do
was
these specific functions. So it
in
seems to
Egypt.
me like it's a magic mineral.
Well, in Egypt,
Yeah.
they said it was the elixir of life, and it prolonged. And even then, with their hierarchy, only the pharaohs and their wives in the courts got it. It was kept away from the commoners.
Maybe
This whole
that's why they
process that
lived so long.
Dalibor's described tonight and their ancient processes, yes, it was for the upper and elite classes. Looks like
See,
nothing's changed.
As to whether or not it extends life, that has yet to be seen in my case, because I've only been using it for about a year.
Yeah.
So I've only been manufacturing it myself and using it for about a year. I don't know anybody else, from my immediate circle of friends that uses it.
Yeah, they must have proved it back then because it was extensively mined and used. It's in all their hieroglyphs how they used it.
Sure.
So they depended on it a great deal.
Of course, the Egyptians had a way of. Oh, I've read that. That's a great book. That's a great book.
Yes, I had that book.
And remember what Dr. Wallach would talk about. He said that 99% of the things that go wrong in the human body is all basing from mineral deficiencies and vitamin deficiencies.
Makes sense.
So I have a strong suspicion that, and I think that this specific Ormus, it seems to focus on mental stuff a lot for people, sleeping and intense dreams, this type of stuff. I wonder if this is one of the key foundational minerals that we lose in our cerebral spinal fluid that we replenish with this Ormus.
I think so too, yeah, because in that book he mostly talks about mineral toddy, and toddy is interesting in that it contains like virtually every single one of the elements, virtually every single one of them, like not these, but all of these. Whereas, since the composition of the Ormus is largely unknown, and it also varies based on what you use as your primary ingredients to extract it, I would say that it probably has the same mental effects as something like mineral toddy would.
Yeah, it's so funny. It's like I keep seeing it's like the stem cell of the mineral world. Like it's a stem cell. Like it has. I think because you're breaking it down, it has the ability to become whatever it gets invoked to become. I have a feeling that the invisibility part of it, there's something with this where this compound has been broken down to such a pure point that it can actually become anything that's needed. So I do think it might be magical.
They use this with.
I think you're right.
Hang on just a second. I wanted to reiterate what we touched on last time to remind folks, because it's what Trina's talking about.
Okay.
Remember, they used it in combination. It wasn't just the Ormus. They also used it with the frankincense and myrrh. And the benefits of myrrh was that it's one of the most famous ancient substances for preventing decay, reversing the aging process, rejuvenating the body and the mind. It is closely related to the Gugol of Ayurvedic medicine and in an important Ayurvedic Nasayana. So they made colloidalls, they made teas, and they mixed, they used the Ormus with the frankincense and the myrrh. So maybe it's the combination of those that are talking about what you're talking about. It's not just the Ormus itself.
They brought frankincense and myrrh to the birth of Jesus.
And they also brought gold. They also brought gold to the birth of Jesus.
Yes, they did. Yes, they did.
So how do we know that it wasn't really Ormus?
I have a feeling that might, or maybe the gold was to make the Ormus from the gold. Like you said, we can get Ormus from gold. That could be what that was to make the Ormus from the gold.
That's a distinct possibility.
The ancient Arabians, around the same time. Now, they're saying it originated in Egypt and made its way over to Arabia, but they're not sure about that. Those Arabian kings, shepherds, whatever, different stories for different Bibles, came to Jesus with the frankincense, the myrrh, and the gold. And they were the ones that were mining the gold to make the powder. It was the Egyptians that were using the salts. And I think they taught the Egyptians how to work with the gold. I'm sorry, go ahead, Crystal.
Oh, I was just going to say what's interesting about all of this is that all of these compounds are really, really, really good for astral travel assistance. For receiving and for also receiving sun and moon codes, celestial codes and things like that. I think that's partly why it was so valuable, was because it's kind of like that material that helps us connect with that ethereal and astral part of reality.
Myrrh
possesses. How
go ahead.
We keep hearing about the phosphates. It's like it's all about. To me, it seems like it's all about this fire, the alchemical fire. So it seems to be that this mineral is how we get the alchemical fires of the rest of the minerals to activate within the central nervous system. It's like being shown to me. It's like the white fire dragon is what Ormus would be in its power.
Or the violet flame.
Violet
flame.
White or violet, which in essence are the same.
Hi, Jules.
That's what I'm saying.
Hi, Jules.
Hi.
Welcome.
Hi, Jules.
Hi, Jules.
Speaking of the alchemist,
I kind of almost wish that Khadijah was here, because there's an elixir that they mixed together that true tonic stimulant. It was a stimulant that they used when they went through their initiation rituals. That was also the myrrh. They mixed it and gave them rejuvenative powers along with strong detoxifying effects. It was considered more balanced than herbs, more balanced than golden seal, and other bitter detoxifiers, which weakens the body in long-term usage. So they didn't use it to treat acute medical problems. They drank it on a regular basis during this whole initiation process to get their bodies ready before they went into the pyramid for the highest level of initiation. So what does that tell you? That
interesting, but I think, high
and our
frequency.
governments don't want us to use it, huh?
And
Go ahead, Dad.
I think it would stand to reason, for anybody using Ormus to start incorporating small amounts of perhaps boswellia, which is the frankincense, and boswellia and myrrh. I'm going to try that, actually. I'm actually going to try that.
Frankincense and myrrh is my regular usage. I infuse my massage oil with it, and I actually use it on my face, and I use it for back pain and like my neck and shoulders. I use that the most, and it helped the most as far as with pain. And I have to say, there are some anti-aging effects with that. I have definitely been seeing an improvement in my skin like tone, and a lot of the these little wrinkles I was getting, they're not even there anymore. But I can't say that it's a cure for wrinkles, okay? It just works for me.
Let's ask Jules, since she's just... Jules, do you use frankincense or myrrh in any of your teas or any of your tinctures?
I use frankincense all the time.
Yeah, I love it.
Oh, you do you?
Yeah. I use it on my face.
Yeah, me too. It's very nice. It's good stuff, guys. It's good stuff. Get you a little bit.
Yeah, or if I can send you a little bit.
I've got so much of it. If you guys are interested, let me know, and let me know in my message box, and I'll send you some frankincense.
Okay.
I have a lot.
Do you use myrrh also?
Yes.
I have it, but I don't use it as much because they're both resins. They tend to actually get really thick. Well, the myrrh does, and as it gets older, it actually gets really thick, and it doesn't run as easy as the other oils. Because if you look at the word resin, This is where it comes back to the amber and the tree and the plasma in our body, which is the gold. There it is. That's the plasma in our body, which is gold.
In which case, if I were to combine those two, the way I would do it is as a spagyric tincture. Namely, I would extract it using alcohol over a long period of time and keep it there maybe 2 or 3 weeks. Then what you would do is you would take the original substrate of the frankincense and the myrrh, burn that, and add the ashes back to the alcohol, then evaporate the alcohol off of that to get what they called a vegetable stone. And that potentiates the power of whatever you extracted it from. And yeah, you can make it out of, as the name indicates, out of a vegetable. Usually what they use is garlic, except that it's extremely powerful. I haven't tried it yet, but I've heard some interesting stories about it, that if you take too much of it, it can make like all your hair and nails fall off. So you have to be really careful with that.
Yeah. I heard it has a very pleasant smell to it.
Oh, I love it.
Is that right?
I love it.
Yeah, we usually in the Czech tradition, what we usually do is we burn boswellia or frankincense around Christmas time. Yeah. We take like a spoon and burn it over a fire, and it releases smoke, and it fills the whole house with smoke.
I burn it all the time.
Yeah, it has a very pleasant taste.
In Australia, we don't have, like, natively we have the grass trees, and they have a resin that's on the top of the spike, and it's the same vibrational thing as actual frankincense, because it's not native natural to here. So what we have here in Australia is actually a grass. They're called grass trees. They used to be called a certain name, and you can't use that name anymore because of the color of it. And they get a spike, and then the resin, all the little bits. I found this out. We were going on a little adventure, and on the adventure we come across a whole area of these actual plants, and I took the resin off it, and I've got that actually what I can burn. It's resin. It's clumps of resin. Clumps
right.
of resin.
That is what it is.
Yeah, and that's where the same as I chew the gum. If you look at chewing gum, you can get resin, your frankincense, that you can purchase and chew that as your gum, right? Gum. And what do we have here is gum trees. And what do they give off? Resin. And when you cut them, it looks like blood's running down the tree. It's all connected, guys.
Well,
you are.
That tree sap, that it's real sappy.
So resin.
Well, frankincense, as mentioned by one of the commenters, is known to cure certain types of cancer, as is pine needle tree. And, pine also produces a sap, and that sap is extracted to form turpentine.
Yep,
so, and some people consume turpentine, small quantities, like 1 tablespoon for things like fever. If you put it on like a sugar cube and eat that'll reduce the fever.
You see what Marsh is saying here?
To do though with the terps is don't boil it. You actually, like, as if you're going to put the leaves, the pine needles into a teapot and put the water over the top of it. If you boil it on the stove, it does become terps. Okay? So the whole benefit of this whole thing that they're coming out about with the pine needle is, terps, Methuselah, methyl is spirit. Right, methane is spirit, and it comes from the turpentine tree.
You could probably do a cleaner extraction using pure alcohol. Where here in Europe you can buy pure denatured alcohol, and it's like really cheap. It's like €1 a liter, and you mix that, macerate it.
It's expensive here.
Yeah. €1. Yeah, but it's like it's sold as a cleaning compound, spiritus. See,
oh
alcohol.
My gosh, you guys get it so cheap. It's so expensive for me to get that.
Yeah.
Oh
wow.
Yeah.
Lucky.
A lot of ours is locked away because they don't want certain people to be using it.
Some people drink it,
That's
and
awful.
It is it's denatured with things like pyridine and stuff like that, which is kind of unhealthy to drink. But some people do drink it nevertheless.
Man. I'm good.
Dalibor, just out of curiosity, have you ever posted any of this on Queen of Quartz Network? On one of your...
Yes, I did. Yes, I did.
It's out there, so we could go to Queen of Quartz Crystal Network, and we can find all this out there.
I posted detailed instructions on how to make the Ormus, as well as Colloidalls silver.
Okay.
Because I've done all this stuff personally. So yeah, I know what I'm talking about.
Nice.
Marsh is a little chemist here. Look.
Yeah.
Oh yeah. Oh yeah. This is true. 10 drops of pure frankincense to 1 cup of alkaline water.
There's John. Hi, John. Oh, did we? Hi.
Hello.
Hi, John.
Hi, who we got here? Wow.
You okay?
It's a full house. How are you guys doing?
Doing great.
Good. How are you?
I'm good, thanks.
Did I mess up the time when I said 9 Eastern Standard Time? Did I mess you up?
Well, I don't get the time zones. We have 4 time zones. You guys only have 3, so it doesn't really work out very well. We have Eastern, Maritime, Central, and we have actually 5. So
wow, my goodness!
I think I need to learn them. I think I need to learn them.
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't see any. Okay. It's all right. That's okay. How long have you guys been on for? Hopefully not too long.
Oh, you're like almost an hour behind, but that's okay.
We'll rain check. We'll rain check with you, John.
I basically gave him a rundown on how Ormus is made, how I make it myself, and how I've made it not only out of sea salt but also out of various stones I found, and what it's like to take it, various unusual properties of it, like the electrostatic effect, and also the fact that it behaves differently at different stages of the washing process. Right. I don't know if you've noticed this yourself, John, but around at the ninth washing, the water gets a lot more turbid and takes a lot longer for it to settle out, despite the fact that the buoyancy of the water is decreased. You know, you should theoretically have a really quick settling out, but instead, at the 9th washing, it takes like 3 days for it to settle out completely. And the sides of the reaction vessel tend to be like sticky with some sort of gunk.
I've only done it once. I've only made it once. So I don't have as much experience as you do on that type of Ormus.
I see.
You take it right down to the monatomic level, and I found the processing of it excruciatingly hard. I will do it again though, but I have to get more equipment. I need a bunch of solutions for my pH meter and new tips for it. There are natural ways to do it, but what process did you use?
The so-called dry method, which is actually a misnomer because you're using solutions of both the sodium chloride and the sodium hydroxide, except that instead of using a pH meter, I just played it by ear, and I looked up tables of concentrations of pHs for sodium hydroxide and sodium bicarbonate, and I figured out that if I mix a half and half mixture of sodium bicarbonate and sodium hydroxide and take that half and half mixture and make 268 grams of that and add it to 2,000 grams of the sea salt in solution, both of which are in solution, then I get 241 grams exactly of Ormus.
Wow.
Which is an anomalous quantity because you're not supposed to have that many impurities that would react with the sodium hydroxide for you to have any appreciable amount of matter left over. Because if you look into the reaction between sodium hydroxide and sodium chloride solution, there is no reaction. There shouldn't be any. So the fact that you're getting anything at all is in and of itself kind of an anomaly.
Yeah.
So John, I have a question. Would you like to come on in another time, and we'll get down to some juicy details? But first, I have a question for you.
Sure.
I just want to know real quick, what is it that brought you to Ormus?
Geez, I never really thought about that.
That's a really interesting question.
I suppose because I started looking into Actually, I can tell you, but it's a long, long story. It starts off when I'm a kid, and I read an encyclopedia about Roman soldiers eating steel or iron balls to make themselves stronger. And that just sat in my mind for years until I heard the Sumerian stories of the gods creating mankind to mine for gold. And that sent me off on a path to look for gold and why the gods would be so interested in it. And that led me to Colloidalls and Ormus, and that's basically in a nutshell. Yeah,
That's interesting.
That is interesting. Well, I just know a lot of people are starting to notice as they consume the Ormus that they're getting more of a clearer connection to their higher self. So it's, I know a lot of people are sharing their inner gnosis after using Ormus, and it's been like really like profound stuff, so
Ormus, I make sea salt Ormus. I don't do it to the monatomic level. I do it to the particle size that it comes in. You'll find great benefits from that as well. You don't have to worry about acids and stuff like that. You can I use Phillips milk with magnesia.
Magnesia.
Okay.
That makes sense.
And or
borax.
Yep.
Okay.
Yeah, borax. Good old borax, man.
That has so many uses.
Hey, John, we're gonna let Crystal go because she has dinner plans, but the rest of us are gonna hang on. And those who need to jump off, you jump off when you need to.
I'm sorry,
and anybody in chat who needs to go, it's okay. You can always come back and rewatch. The other half. We're going to give John his time here because of the mess up in the schedule.
I tell you what, tomorrow morning though, I will go back and rewatch for sure. Just get good. I love you guys so much.
Hi, Crystal.
I love you all so much.
Enjoy your time with Joey.
I can't wait for tomorrow's show on Milky Way, you guys.
Yep.
All right.
Yep. We'll see you there. Bye-bye.
Peace.
Peace out.
Peace.
There we go. Okay, so John, we're sorry. Go ahead, continue. I didn't mean to.
What did you guys want to talk about?
Well, I wanted to see the process that I had watched a long time ago when you were doing your process. It sounded a lot different from what Dalibor was doing. You both just clarified that, but I wanted to actually see how this works. Okay.
I prepared a container with just salt water in it.
Okay. Wow.
Now, I don't know how fast of a reaction this is going to be. You'll have to give me 1 second. I wasn't even prepared. I was going to...
Oh, that's right.
I have to get some... This box is empty, by the way. That box of boron. I put it in my bathtub. I drink it. I use it all over the place. I suggest everyone put a pinch of it in everything they drink. It may have a great effect on Morgellons.
I've tried it. Yes.
Just an FYI. A quarter teaspoon per day per 100 pounds of person is what you take. Okay. So if you're 100 pounds, you take a quarter teaspoon. If you're 150, a quarter and an eighth.
Gotcha.
Okay.
Yeah. And John, he's tall and slender. He probably only takes a half a teaspoon anyway. I'd be taking like 2 teaspoons, please.
It's all right.
Have you ever taken this, Trina? Have you?
Yeah, I was just going to ask her that.
Have you?
I have, but I haven't done it in a long time, and I want to do it again. I did it in a bath. It's like a sitz bath before with the borax. Because I'm pretty sure I did get hit with Morgellons back in 1994, and it broke out on my entire left shin, and I got it to go away. But I'm pretty sure that's what that was. Yeah, but it's not a normal rash. That's why you know it's Morgellons. It's not the same. And I was working on a golf cart, doing the beer cart all day, and they've been chemtrailing us for months and months and months, and then all of a sudden I got that weird rash on just my left shin, and it took months for me to get rid of it. But yeah, it wasn't like a normal rash, and they don't go away.
Wow,
it's really pigment weird. On your skin really dark. Did you have like a brown patch?
No, I had a tan because I worked on a golf cart course every day.
Yeah, but it didn't. The pigment didn't change on your skin, did it?
Turned it was red, and then it would almost get like it almost felt like it wanted to make blisters. And it was like, and it was just so itchy. That was the thing. It wasn't, the rash wasn't as bad as how bad it would itch. I mean, it literally felt like shit was crawling underneath your skin. It was crazy weird.
Did they give you cortisone cream for that? Cortisone?
Oh, none of it would touch it. None of it would touch it. That's why I was doing the sitz bath, and I was using a lot of salt. It didn't like salt either. Oh, that shit does not like salt. So I would rub salt straight into my shin, and then I would do the sitz baths, and that's what took care of it finally.
Wow.
Huh.
Yep.
There we go. Goes.
Yeah.
Yeah. So use a wooden spoon when you're stirring these things. Don't use metal. Just an FYI. That's just the boron. We'll stir that up real good. I think you're going to have to put in more, though. It'll take a few minutes to dissolve, and we'll keep our eye on it. I want to show you guys that I'm here. We've got colloidal gold here. I'd like to show you. Okay. You guys, I don't know if you can see it. You're going to see a slight color to it. Slight purplish color.
Yeah.
Okay. Oh, yeah. So if you allow me to take over the screen for a minute, I have a quick share here.
Sure.
Share. There we go. Okay. Let's see if we're showing that. Is it showing? Okay.
Yes, it is. You're good.
Okay. So what we have here, these are the different colors that colloidal gold will come in. It starts off in the red spectrum here on the left, and moves down to the purplish, almost to black, and then it will go to clear. It instantly changes.
Wow.
So by varying the voltage, you can vary the particle size. I use about 12 volts because on the bottom of my gold, eventually, you'll see something. Wait, let me just show you. On the bottom, there
like a
is
bead.
a little bead of black there.
Yeah.
Okay, that's gold. Now that I'll use for other things. I use it in toothpaste. You can put it in a cream for wounds. You can use it for all kinds of things, like especially wounds and that. So the colloidals come in various sizes. I use 12 volts, and that gets me just below the dark purple to black range. Okay, the lower the voltage, the smaller the particle you're going to get. So if you use like say 50 to 100 volts, you're going to end up in the red range over here. So here, down here, okay, what did they do with it? Stop that.
Mag screens.
Oh, they hit it. Okay, they did have, they have it here. So they start off at 2 nanometers here, okay? Once you get down to the purples and the clear, you're into 150 nanometer. Now that is very close to, but not quite a monatomic element, okay? So that's enough sharing of that. So just wanted you guys to see that, so you can see the different colors that it comes in depending on how long you go to it. And
what device? I'm sorry. Did you show the device that you're using to?
I use just a power supply. That's all I use. This is an alternating current power supply. You can use a DC, either or. It doesn't matter. But if you're using a DC, you have to make sure that you put the metal on the positive lead. Okay. I use alternating current, so I put a metal on both leads. So that way, when the positive hits either side, it shoots a particle off.
That's what I do too. I use AC and I put it on both the electrodes, and I don't step it down through a transformer or anything like that. I just use 240 volts directly.
What colors do you get?
Well, I don't do gold. I only do silver. And
okay, silver. Yeah.
in my case, with silver, that's a function of pretty much what the concentration of impurities in the water is. The purer the water is, the smaller the particles tend to be. So what I do is I make distilled water. I have my own distilling machine. Make distilled water, and then set up the electrodes really carefully. Turn on the power, and then add maybe 1 tablespoon of like tap water just to get the reaction started, because that'll increase the conductivity, because pure distilled water is not conductive. Or theoretically, what you should be using is some small remnant of that previous batch of colloidal silver and
I'll
add
tell you
that to
what I
it.
did use that was really cool was just the slightest fingertip of pure raw honey.
Interesting.
It
And that
made
increases the conductivity.
It does, and
Interesting.
it gives the colloidal a difference for some reason. It brings out the purplish color, the dark purple in it. So
Interesting.
give that a try. It's fun, and yeah, I don't know if it would do with silver. I don't think it will do anything with silver. No, it'll do it with gold though.
Well, I'll try it. I'll still try it.
Do you have gold?
Well, yeah. Oh, yeah. I mean, that's not a problem. Yeah.
Because you can. Okay, for those of you wanting to make colloidal gold and silver,
right?
You can buy a generator online. Okay, I'm going to take a minute here so that you guys just.
You guys, while he's doing that, Marcia said, "Do any of you drink diatomaceous earth?" What is that, Marcia? What is diatomaceous earth?
I've been meaning to get some of that.
That's basically clay. I have some that I mined on my own because I had a vein of it on my previous property, where there used to be like an old potter's workshop, because there was a vein of clay. So I saved some of that. So yeah, I have it, but I
how do you
haven't taken
drink
it.
clay? Do you just dilute it
Just
in
mix it
water?
with water.
It's a white powder, and you just put it in the water and mix it up.
Oh, it's a white powder. Okay.
Yeah.
Okay, Trina, I was like sitting here going, how am I going to drink dirt?
Yep.
So if you could share a screen, I'd like to show the people they can get a generator here online for around $40, $50. That's a silver generator. Okay. So you can all make your own colloidal silver at home.
Okay.
Okay. It comes with 2 rods and a generator. And I don't know what that is. That might be a laser light to check the particle. I was going to do that too, so you could see the particles, but we'll do that in a bit. I also make colloidal silver, as you guys do, and I believe in Dr. Emoto's experiments, so I write on the side of them.
Oh,
okay.
Good.
Yeah.
Good.
Love,
Yeah.
health.
Love and health. My gold has third eye written on it. And this is
there you go, Trina.
that I just started making is colloidal titanium.
Oh, wow.
Interesting.
Wow.
So colloidal titanium is good for muscle strength, recovery, and stamina.
Interesting. I've never heard of colloidal titanium.
Yeah. I've been looking up all the metals. I'm adding slowly, bit by bit, other metals to my entourage, and I just notice benefits every time I add one. It's great.
How often do you take this, John? And
every day.
Every day.
Every day.
And what quantity?
I'd say about 3 or 4 ounces.
Okay, and do you wait like a half an hour in between each time you do that? Or
I put it in my coffee. I put it in things we eat. I put the Ormus. This is Ormus made with Phillips milk of magnesia. It goes great in sauces. Okay.
So you dilute it in the sauces. Okay.
Oh, that way it's absorbing longer because it's in the food.
Digest it.
The ideal of these actually is to really put them in dirt and grow food in. That is the ideal. That's where this
I was
Ormus
just going to
all
say
started
that.
from. That's where it
That's
all
what I was just
started
going to
from.
say. I
I'm
heard
doing that.
everybody kept saying put Ormus in your vegetable
Yeah.
gardens and stuff.
Yeah.
I was like,
There was a farmer years ago, and he couldn't understand why his crops weren't growing as well as he wanted. He did everything he could, and he eventually just head right down to the soil. And he was the one that found Ormus.
I believe it because I've been
David
using
Hudson.
I've been
Yes.
using chips of granite rock. The reason
Yeah.
my garden took off the way it did,
Mhm.
and I tested it by not putting some in some of the pots, and I put the granite powder in and mixed it in with the soil on one whole side, almost all the way around, and then I had 3 that I left without it. They're stunted. They're like midgets compared to these other plants.
You're not getting that
Amazing.
good nutrients.
Amazing. Yeah.
Granite. That was just granite.
Yeah.
I can
Wow.
I have
imagine if you use the Ormus.
I have a small window garden. I grow some things to eat in it, but it's not going to be enough to get the full nutrients. So we have to take supplements in different
Yes.
ways.
Wow. So you
Yeah.
can actually mix it Ormus into the soil. What
Oh,
about
yeah.
what about the colloidals?
Yep.
Use the liquid
Yep.
and
Just
water the plants
water
with it?
Just water the plant with it.
Wow.
Yeah.
Yeah, I've done that too with my lemon trees. I have lemon trees that I also like a window garden, sort of. I also have aloe in my windows, so I'm watering that with Ormus. But I've never thought of doing that with colloidal silver. But
Mhm.
that should be interesting. I'll try that too.
Yep.
Yeah.
The plants just love all of these things. Like it's what they've been.
they're like us. We
Yeah.
need minerals.
Yeah.
They need minerals too.
Sure.
You know, and the ancient stories say the
Yeah.
gods came and they mined our gold, and they mined our silver, they mined all the metals, right? Well, whether it was them or whether it was us, we've taken them out of the soil. So our rainwater is rushing off the plains. They're not getting all the nutrients they need, and we have to supplement, unfortunately.
I'll be darned.
Yeah.
So there's actually kits online that you can buy that are made that has all the apparatus you need to make your own colloidals.
Yep. You can type in colloidal gold generator and colloidal silver generator, and you can buy one. Yeah. The colloidal generators, I think, are around $100, and the silver are around $50 that I just saw. Which really, if you use it, if you get 10 8-ounce bottles, you've made your money back.
Wow.
Yeah, because the amount of silver that I've used so far is like incredibly low. I used an ounce of pure silver. I just cut it in half with a hacksaw, and I swear, I swear to God, like the amount of silver that's missing off that is like less than maybe a gram, I would say.
Look at
Yeah.
that.
Oh, same thing. Yeah, same thing.
Yeah.
Wow.
No, I hit that with 12 volts.
Yeah.
Because I wanted to powder it.
Uh-huh.
So I powdered it at 12 volts, and I got powder that I can use for toothpaste, wounds, anything.
Look at
Oh,
that.
nice.
What a
Yeah,
trip.
nice.
Wow.
Uh-huh.
And you can do the same thing with the other colloidals. You just have to find the amount of volts that will just start pushing off larger particles, and use that. And then, if you want it in colloidal form where it's more drinkable, you back it down and do it lower and slower.
What do you do with the water? Does it evaporate completely, or are you?
Yeah, you have to make that. I would take a container like this, dissolve the metal in it using a higher voltage, and then I would put it on the stove on a very low heat, or in the oven on a very low heat, and just let it evaporate slowly, very slowly. And you'll end up with a crust on the bottom. You scrape that off, and you're good to go. And this will also react with sunlight too. I could make film with it. I've used it in sunscreen, and it's a fun thing because you can go. I did it on my daughter. I drew on her arm. I said, "I love you," and she went out in the sun. And then about an hour later, on her arm, it said, "Hi, love you."
That's great.
That's cool.
Got a smart dad.
Cool. Well, wow. So, this is great. Now, have you have you actually produced this in enough quantity that you don't have to be doing this like every day? You just make a certain amount every month or something?
I pull off, here, I'll go show you what I use.
Okay.
I'm asking him because if I'm on the road and I actually want to do this, how often do I do it between each trip, or do I have to do it every day? I'm just trying to get a feel for it. That's a lot of apparatus.
Once you
to
start
cart
making it
around.
yourself, you're really just going to want to keep taking it. So
Yeah.
this is a bottle that I use once a week. Me and my wife go through this bottle.
Wow.
Wow. Okay.
Okay. So really, you could do more. I don't know. You'll want to, and if you make it yourself, it's really not a problem. After the first initial cost, it costs you nothing but $1 for some distilled water. I'd like to get a distiller myself.
How does it
awesome.
make you feel? Do you have any
So,
feedback?
when I first started taking it, I didn't notice anything, really. But my wife was taking it at the same time. And what I noticed is that, and what she noticed, was that we would get less agitated, that things didn't bother us as much.
Wow, fascinating.
We were able to deal with situations better. We were taking our time more. It gives you the opportunity. It's not going to fix you. Okay? I want to tell people this clearly. Colloidal gold will not fix you. If your thinking is wrong, you're just going to probably reinforce that wrong thinking. So you have to be in a good place.
It just aids you then, I would say.
Because it is going to strengthen the connections between the left and right hemisphere. Okay? So if you're having bad thoughts, you're going to reinforce those. If you're having good thoughts, you're going to reinforce those.
So does it help with the focus?
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah.
And I can say that it did help me with
it might help me a lot. Then that probably would help me.
Yeah.
Interesting. As I mentioned before you came on, the most noticeable effect of taking Ormus for me was initially that I was sleeping a lot better, because I've been suffering from insomnia since about the age of 14. And this helped me, but the effect grew weaker and weaker and weaker as I was taking it. Then when I ran out of Ormus, before I had made another batch, I had stopped taking it, and also I noticed it again when I restarted taking the Ormus. I had like better sleep.
Well, that's neat. That's like a start-stop effect, eh?
Yes, definitely.
Yeah, that's weird. Yeah, I've been taking Colloidalls and Ormus for 5 years now, and I think it's just like enlightenment. When you achieve a new level of enlightenment, you're ecstatic, you're excited, and the world's your oyster, and then things come back to normal again. And it's kind of like that. But your normal is a much better normal.
I started taking it in 1998 when I first found out about it, and as Walking Water pointed out, it's an antibiotic, but it's not just an antibiotic. It's an antiviral, it's antifungal, and it kills cancer cells. So what I've been doing is I've been combining that also with raw garlic, which I take about 3 large cloves every day. Because that's not just no way.
You won't get stinky breath, and as my wife says, garlic is not going to come out your pores.
No, nothing, because your body acclimates to it. But garlic also, it's an antibacterial, antiviral, antifungal, anti-cancer, and it also cleans out the gunk from inside your blood vessels.
Yeah.
So that's why I've been taking it.
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah, I smash my garlic, leave it for about 20 minutes. So that there's a chemical process that smashing it does, and that it strengthens the effect of it. So
I've heard
and then
that.
you just swallow it?
I've heard that. I just peel it and eat it directly, and then swallow lots of water.
There's something about the oxidization process that changes the garlic a little bit. So if you leave it for about 20 minutes before you eat it, allow that process to happen. I put it on toast or with something usually.
Sure.
Wow.
That's amazing. Yeah, I like the idea of having a compact device that I could store away in my RV, so that when I'm out and about, it's easy to get to, easy to unpack, easy to reuse, put away, make as much, that a jar like that would last me longer probably. John,
You'd be surprised.
if you're putting this into your food and your coffee, can you mix it? I mean, it's like, what do? Just sit there and sprinkle all these different elements into your coffee, or you just...
Well, this container here has colloidal silver, colloidal gold, and colloidal titanium.
All mixed together.
All mixed together. Big bouillabaisse of colloidals. And yeah, I just put that, it goes into my drinks. And the Ormus itself, you can just drink it straight. It's like milk.
Yeah.
It's just like milk. And
have you experienced any side effects with this at all?
Lots of increased hair growth.
Huh. Wow.
Yeah, and my nails grow a lot faster. More I take of it.
I can become a bearded lady and work for the circus.
Yeah, it provides a full spectrum multi-mineral. Because you're getting over 114 minerals in there. Metals, minerals, everything.
So you don't... So what do you take a tablespoon, or like you were saying?
About a half ounce of that. Half ounce?
No, but I mean in your coffee when you take a scoop out of that big jar there with everything.
This, I don't put this in my coffee.
Okay.
This goes in sauces.
Okay.
Or I drink it.
Okay.
Wow.
I love wormwood. Aeon was talking about wormwood. Wormwood is awesome too. Yeah. And Delaney was mentioning black garlic. I've never heard of that before. Wow.
Me either. Yeah.
I've seen it, but I've never tried it.
Yeah, I've never had any of it. That's interesting. I have to check that out.
See, over here, it's kind of difficult to separate until breaking the cell walls combines them. Yeah, I've heard that there's a different reaction with air. That causes a reaction. It also reacts differently with oil. That's why when I was in Italy, I noticed what they do is they take pure garlic and they grind it up, and they mix it with the oil, and then they put that over fresh pizza, and that tastes like $1 million. Literally, that tastes like $1 million.
What's black garlic?
I've never had it. I saw Delaney she just said she just found out about black garlic and she loves it. I've never seen it.
I've never heard of it. Yeah.
It's crystallizing differently than the.
Look at that. Look at that.
Interesting.
Wow.
This is my first time trying with this, so we'll have to see what happens.
See, what I do between decantations is I have an electric stirring mechanism, and I do that in the presence of a neodymium magnet. So I'm vortexing it and magnetizing it.
That's a good idea. Finish that thought for a second. Go ahead. So you put it underneath?
Yeah, I do that in the presence of a magnetic field, a neodymium magnet from a hard drive. Okay. And I've noticed that if you do that with just regular water, it affects the taste of the water. And it distinctly,
structuring it,
it structures the water, and it actually tastes good, but it doesn't taste good when you make coffee out of it for some reason. I don't know why. I just don't like the coffee that results when you make that. I don't know why. It's the same with the. That's why I got the distilled water maker, because I used to also drink distilled water like instead of regular water. Except that again, I didn't like the coffee that came out of the distilled water. I didn't like that as much. Yeah,
that's strange.
That is very
Yeah, but then again, I only drink instant coffee.
Oh, really?
Ooh.
Yeah.
Now, John wasn't on here with you, Dalibor, when you were talking about the side effects of too much colloidal silver.
Yes.
You want to share that? And there's some new people that have come in that didn't hear that. So
I do know two people that have argyria, which is an irreversible skin condition where the skin looks purplish grayish. And it's not a fatal condition, but it's irreversible. And just like the iron in your blood, it doesn't come out anyway except through blood loss. So unless you're willing to bleed yourself every day, and then replenish that blood, there's no way you're getting that silver out of your body. if
Now,
you take too much of it.
Isn't there a very rare liver condition you have to have for that?
No, that can happen from taking not the pure metallic colloidal silver, but silver compounds, specifically silver
okay.
nitrate
Yeah.
and silver
Max.
sulfate. Yeah.
There's Max. Hi,
Yeah.
Max. Kitty, kitty.
He needs
There's
an appearance.
Yeah, he always makes an appearance.
I love that.
Best looking tuxedo cat ever.
Yeah.
He's
Aw,
a fluffy muffin.
beautiful.
Yeah.
Aw,
Well, yeah,
handsome guy.
Those people
Look at him.
actually looked. The folks you're talking about actually looked gray.
Yeah.
Yes.
Grayish
Oh
blue.
yeah.
They
And
actually
usually,
look gray.
if you're just with them, you won't notice it unless they're like next to somebody who's not gray. Then you'll notice it.
Delaney, you're a cracker.
Oh, look at that kitty.
That's what I was going to say. When I'm draining or flushing, I use a hose, and I use a magnet on my hose.
Ah, there you go.
I put a slit through the hose and stuff a magnet in so that none of the monatomic elements can get through because they're repelled by the magnetic field.
Yes.
So I do that when I'm making just my sea salt or sea salt Ormus so that you get more bang for your buck, really. You're not losing anything. You can just pour it right off and it'll still be good. But just to make it that little bit better.
Yeah,
because as I pointed out, I just make it out of regular sea salt that you can buy in the supermarket in the cosmetic section as like a bath salt, and it's about €250 for a kilo. So if I do a 2 kilo batch, it's €5. Which is...
I'm a nut job on that one. I actually buy big chunks of rock salt and smash them apart myself.
Okay.
This was one of those rock salt lamps.
Yeah, I've used that too.
Recognize that.
Okay.
I've used that too.
I have those
Natural
lamps.
rock salt. I take a hammer and smash
Wow.
I'm a little wackadoo about that. But,
That's great.
I've tried using the store salts, and I always find
Himalayan salt.
there's sediment on the bottom, and then there's the processing part of it that heats it up, and you could be losing Ormus that way too because it would just disperse. I kind of
You're getting it naturally that way with the
Himalayan
salt.
I go all caveman on.
Yeah.
on that because I want the most out of it.
That's so cool. Right on.
Yeah. Well, that's awesome. Anything else you can think of, Dalibor, that you wanted to know while you have John here? Because I know you've been wanting to talk to him.
Well, yeah. I mean, basically, we're on the same level, and I've been doing this for a long time. John's been doing this for a long time. I've always started doing Ormus about a year ago, but I got into it a while back before that because I read about it in the ancient Egyptian texts where they refer to the white powder of gold. It's also mentioned. Yeah, it's also mentioned in the Bible when Moses came down from the mountain the second time and he found the Israelites were worshiping the golden calf, and he instructed them to burn the golden calf and then made them eat the white ash from it, which, literally doesn't make any sense because you can't burn gold. And even if you did, it wouldn't make a white ash powder. I mean, and I was thinking that maybe that was one of the steps that they used to make the sodium hydroxide, because I've also made my own sodium hydroxide out of ash from trees because I have a wood burning stove, and my parents live in the woods, so I get free wood whenever I want. So I was burning wood for about 2 years, and over those 2 years I managed to extract about 1 liter of pure sodium hydroxide. I mean, it took a lot of work because what you have to do is you have to wait for the ash to cool down. You put it in a plastic bag, and then put that plastic bag over a bucket, and you flush it with water. And you put needle holes in the bag to make the water come out. And after that's done, you filter that water, and then you dry that off, and then you burn it again, and you get sodium hydroxide that way. It's kind of a long and drawn out process, but I have actually done it.
Yeah. And your process for making Ormus takes days, doesn't it? Even
It
weeks?
takes about 2 weeks. Yeah.
2 weeks to make a batch, and you use a fish tank.
Yeah, I use a round fish tank. Yeah. Uh-huh.
And John, yours takes how long to make the Ormus?
This takes sea salt Ormus takes about 2 days, about a day, 2 days.
Wow! See what a difference. So he can do a constant production. Yours, you have to now. Do you have to babysit yours, Dallas? Do you have to stir it? Or do you just leave it alone?
Well,
Dalibor?
you have to stir when you add the water. You have to stir it a lot. And what I do is I use the electric stirring machine, the drink mixer, and in the presence of a magnetic field. But then
Wish I had one of those.
After that's done, you have to actually not do anything with it. You have to leave it completely alone and wait for it to settle out. When it's settled out, then you do your decantation.
Okay.
But it's waiting. It's a lot of waiting.
It's a lot of waiting. Yeah.
It's a lot of waiting. Yeah.
Yeah.
And,
but John, I wanted to ask you, since you're into remote viewing, I've tried some of that myself, except that my preferred modality would be letter cards and the pendulum. But I've read an interesting scientific dissertation that was actually a meta-study that correlated increases in psychic abilities and psychic phenomenon at any time when the galactic center was directly overhead, which would be at 1330 local sidereal time. And there's websites that you can go online, put in your local time to figure out exactly when the galactic center is directly overhead, and then do your work, then do the remote viewing. And it's I've had some incredible successes that way, to say the least.
Thank you. Yeah.
Fascinating.
Yeah.
Interesting.
Wow. That's cool.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
I'll have to check that out.
John, did they ever add you into? There's so many people. The reason I'm asking is because I have a short-term memory thing, and there's so many people in the Queen of Quartz Crystal Network website. Do you have a section? You don't have a section in there, do you?
I don't know what that is.
Okay. What we have is
I'm so disconnected.
Through the Soul Tribe. Okay, through this Soul Tribe. Wayne's channel, Robert's channel, this channel, Slightly Slanted Steve, Paula Kemp. I'm trying to get everybody in. Most of us are in there, but there's others that we're still trying to add.
Okay.
And yours is one of those channels.
Sure.
Because there's a section, it's like having a website. And I know you don't have a website, but it would have your information. We have an educational section. Dalibor's process for making the Ormus is in there. I just found that out tonight.
Okay.
That's already in there. All the research that all these different groups of people are doing, we try to put that information in this crystal network, which is worldwide. Folks from Australia can get in there, New Zealand, Africa. It's, and what this show is doing is just a gateway to try to help pull that all together. So sometimes we bring folks like you on so that we can talk and learn a process and then invite you into that network system and build a page for you. Now, Karen's away. Karen Sparloff is our hard rock miner. She's out mining right now.
She's mining gold in the Yukon.
Gold in the Yukon.
Yeah.
And she has crystals, and she has a big warehouse of crystals.
Nice.
So what you do is you can go into that website at any time for any resources you might need for certain supplies or things that you need to do, and you can make available to us information that you know.
There's also PDFs of like certain key works, like books.
Okay.
Yeah, any books or any papers that you've written or any research material that you might want to share out with people that you want to freely share out with people would go into a section, because we have different sections in the website. So, think about it, because we'd like to invite you into that. And I have a long list. I've been building it while Karen's gone. So when she gets back, there's going to be some major we just went through an update. Now we're going to go through another whole round. Yeah, we'll put you on there and give you a section.
Yeah.
And anything that you do like this, if you want to put a formula in there that people might be beneficial to them, you can put it in there for them. And you can also take a look at what other people have put in.
Okay.
So we'd love to add you in there.
Oh, okay. One more thing I wanted to say about Ormus and Colloidalls. when I made my colloidals, I used hydroxy solution and hydrochloric acid. Okay. And when you're taking colloidals, we have a wonderful system in our body called a stomach. And what it has in it is hydrochloric acid.
Yeah.
So if you're taking gold on a regular basis, daily, you're going to be getting some monatomic gold every day, because that'll be breaking it apart into monatomic elements. It's almost there, just needs that little extra. So you put it in your food, you drink it in your coffee, and you'll be getting some monatomic gold Ormus.
Wow.
Cool.
Awesome. Amazing.
So you can build that up over days and months and years, and that'll help build the
Wow, that's great.
third eye. There are a lot of elements in there that rely on gold, like a lot of piezoelectric elements that we use actually to see. There's piezoluminescent, piezofluorescent, and piezoelectric in there.
Like silicon.
Pardon me?
Like
they
silicon?
Are silicon. Yes, they are silicon based, but there is a lot of gold floating around in there too. And other metals.
As a matter of fact, a lot of gold deposits are found in quartz deposits, quartzite.
Yeah.
Wow, amazing. This was so incredibly
yes. Thank you so much.
I think we should actually get Karen on at the same time, because she can speak with authority about the gold aspect of it and mining gold, where gold is found.
Right now, she's barely able to communicate. She's so far away from. She has a satellite phone, but it's for very limited contact. So
she's busy bee. She's just a busy bee.
But she'll be back around when it comes time to come back down out of the clouds.
And she'll get on it.
And we'll do another update. Because Lori and I only know small adjustments, but adding major sections, we need more time with her to show us how to do that.
Wouldn't want to mess up her website.
No.
Wouldn't want to take that responsibility.
I'll just
we're
gather
getting some different crystals on the bottom. I haven't seen these before, so I'll have to keep you guys updated how it goes.
Wow.
Look at that.
Wow.
That's just why we've been sitting here.
Exactly. Huh.
Interesting.
Now you've got an electrode on that?
No electrode required on this. This you just put in the borax. I like milk of magnesia. Well, so far. We'll see how it goes. I chose milk of magnesia because it's something I need anyways, magnesium. And you can't get too much of it. It won't make you sick if you overdo it. I wasn't sure about borax or boron, but it's pretty much the same too. Although they only suggest you take about a quarter teaspoon. You can take more. It's not that harmful of an element. Salt is actually more harmful than
you guys are using distilled water.
Yeah.
Now, the ancients didn't have a process for distilling, did they? They didn't strip all the minerals out of the water and then
they could have.
Yeah, sure. They could have used
a jar with a spout. Do it.
I just wonder if they did.
Since we know they had glass, so basically any kind of glass pane positioned above a shallow container of water exposed to the sun, like preferably a black container to absorb as much of the heat from the sun as possible, so that the water would evaporate. And if it was tilted slightly at an angle, those droplets that form on the inner surface of that glass would work their way towards one of the edges and could be collected. So yes, theoretically they could have made their own distilled water, although we really have no way of knowing if they did that.
Well, and Mary Wins is right.
What the heck is that?
That's happened before. Piezoelectric. Yeah.
Yep. Those are one of the elements that hang around in your pineal.
Baghdad battery. Yeah, so they would have had the ability to use electricity.
Yeah.
Okay. Now, I know some YouTubers who are using spring water instead of distilled water.
I think it's personal choice. I prefer distilled because there's not much in it. You don't have to add anything to the distilled water to get the electrical current going if you're making colloidals. Now, Ormus, I don't know. You might be adding things to it. I'd say it's personal choice and whatever's available, really.
Plus, mineral water that's kind of a generic term because every spring has its own unique constellation of elements that are present inside that water. Like for example, in my country, we have 56 different mineral waters, where basically each of the counties has its own mineral water that's native to that region. So, it's individual. So I guess if you prefer one type of water over another, I would say go with that.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
I'd say just your preference.
Guys, I gotta run, but I love you.
Okay.
Oh,
We're getting
Bye,
ready.
Trina.
We're getting ready to go.
Yeah.
Bye,
Trina.
Trina. Thank you, Trina. Have a great weekend.
Awesome.
bye
Have
everyone
a
in
great
chat.
weekend.
I love you.
Bye-bye. Love you too. Yep. Well, John, thank you so much.
You're
I'm
welcome.
sorry about the mix-up in the time
Oh, that's
schedule
no
there,
problem.
but yeah, I'm still learning too. Dealing with people all over the world. I didn't know that Canada had that many different time zones.
I didn't either. I was like, I thought we were the weirdos.
No, I mean, he asked me, "Are we ready to go?" And that was at about 8 something, and I said, "Yeah, 9 o'clock."
Yeah, because I'm central.
Yeah, okay,
Yeah, okay.
Uh-huh.
yeah, and I said EST, but if I had said 8 Central, he probably would have.
It still
Pacific
wouldn't have worked.
Standard.
Yeah.
Still wouldn't have worked.
Central, yeah.
Uh,
We're
I'm
supposed to be getting rid of the daylight savings times. We'll see how that goes. That'll be
I hope
interesting.
so. I hope
Thank
Are you
so.
God.
having a remote view classes this weekend, even though it's a holiday for Americans?
I am. I'll be starting in about half an hour, I think.
Oh,
Okay.
perfect. Great.
Yeah.
Uh-huh.
Wonderful.
So you're doing it one tonight and then tomorrow again
Yeah, I like
after
to.
Milky Way?
Yeah, I try to keep regular. Yeah.
Okay.
I
Cool.
I did Wednesday nights for the first year or so, first 2 years, and it really got draining because I changed jobs and I had more
Yeah.
travel and stuff.
Mm.
So I switched to weekends. I lost a few people, but I gained a few people.
Yeah.
Yep.
Mhm.
You know, what can you do?
Yep.
Well, we have Milky Way Soul Tribe tomorrow night, and
Yeah,
that's on at 10 p.m. Eastern.
yeah.
which would be
I'm on
9.
11, so
Yeah, you're on at 11. Okay. So
Yeah.
we have we're honoring the memory of our ascended brother Brian Barnett.
awesome.
It'll be
Yeah.
the date. July
Yeah.
3rd is when he ascended.
We
Last
reviewed
year.
him on his journey. That was
Yeah,
beautiful.
I heard about that. I did not
To
know.
me, he looked like a thunderbird. Other people saw him driving cars, going. He went to some famous spots. The birthplace of Christ, Antarctica.
Oh, really?
At least that's what it seemed like.
I had him in the astral. He was surfing on a surfboard,
Really?
sound waves through
Oh,
space,
yeah.
Wow.
sound and white waves, and he grabbed me and took me along with him for a little while, and then he dropped me. And as I was dropping, I was spinning around, and he took off. He's like, "Cowabunga!" You know?
Awesome.
Mhm.
He actually shouted that out. Yeah,
Gosh.
yeah. But it wasn't the same day that he ascended. It was a few
No.
days later.
Yeah.
You got to
Yeah,
be
this
in the
was much-
healing realms, for a
Yeah,
while.
yeah.
Mhm.
We
Very
did this
important.
week or two, I think, after he passed. It was-
Yeah.
it was
Yeah.
a few weeks after.
Yep.
Somebody was asking about him, so
That's cool.
and I wondered about him. So
Yeah.
Yeah.
it looked like he was having a great time.
Yeah. Happy,
He was,
happy
and he was
Yep.
happy. He was happy. Came to me often in my garden. He's the one that sent me the plans to build my greenhouse. So,
Oh, beautiful!
I used to connect with him in there as the whole time. So, especially when I was having trouble with my plants, so he helped me with that too. So,
Fantastic.
yeah.
Great.
Well, we'll have to have you back on another time to.
Yeah, thanks.
Yeah.
You know,
Thank you
keep-
so much for coming in.
Yeah.
No problem. I enjoyed it. I love talking about colloidals and stuff. So
Yeah.
Yeah, and
Dalibor, thank you as well.
yeah, thanks.
Yeah,
I
no
wish I was
problem.
around for more of your talk because I've only done the monatomic gold once, and you have much more experience doing it with like other things too, which is amazing. So
I've tried copper.
Yeah?
I've
Wow.
tried copper as well. Yeah, it's dependent on the purity of the water. That you get the best solution when you use the purest possible water, and just to really add like maybe not even 1 teaspoon, but like a half a teaspoon of regular tap water into the mix, just to increase the conductivity a little bit, and leave that there for like maybe 6 hours. And that gives you like a beautiful golden color of the colloidal silver. Whereas if you do it too fast, then you have too much of the tap water in there. It forms like a grayish kind of a brownish grayish color. Not attractive. Not really
No.
attractive. Yeah, it still
I
works.
got copper to come off green once. It was really cool.
Yeah, green. Yeah, copper usually does come off as green.
I did stream it off in green. I used that in a salve for muscle aches and stuff. That was great.
Mm-hmm.
I really should make some more of that.
I recently used colloidal silver to get rid of a bladder infection because I was thinking, since the colloidal silver is excreted through your bladder, what better way to access that infected area than by drinking something that'll go through it? And sure enough, it worked. Yeah.
Wow.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
So do you drink it on a daily basis, or
no? Only if I get sick, and I haven't been sick in quite a while. Yeah. Especially since I upped my dosage of the raw garlic, which I've combined also with apricot kernels, which I'm doing 4 a day. They say that if you do 4 a day, that you will never get cancer.
Awesome.
And yeah. So I'm every day I do like all this stuff, like a whole litany of vitamins and minerals that I take. Sometimes I tell people and they start falling asleep after about the fifth.
No, but I did sit there like this, like
yeah.
I was like trying to picture all this stuff going into his system.
Yeah.
But now you guys have access to each other's emails now, because when I sent out the email, I believe.
Yeah, I saw your email address.
I think I included you on both emails, John, from Andromeda 7 as well as me personally.
Okay, thank you.
But what I'll do, just to make sure, is I'll send you both an email. Hey guys, here's your emails, so that you can exchange. You're completely different. He's in Germany and you're in Canada.
Yeah, I'm a Czech guy living in Germany.
Okay.
But I lived in the United States for about 29 years. So, as I like to say, I spent the first half of my life in the United States and the better half in Europe.
Yeah. Yeah, I'd like to hook you up. And also, Dalibor uses Skype.
Yeah, I don't.
You don't use Skype?
I don't have any other social media.
You just have email, right?
Yeah, just email and YouTube.
There you go. Email and YouTube.
All right.
Well, I'll Skype with you. I've never set up Skype, so
it's really easy.
It's pretty easy.
Yeah, it's simple and it's.
I think
really
I tried
nice.
like years ago, but I gave up because there was nobody on there. So.
Skype works even on my Linux machine. You can get it. I divested myself of all Microsoft products because I don't want anything to do with that. So I'm running Linux, and there is a Skype version for Linux.
Nice.
Skype is free. It's free.
So is Linux.
And also, Max has a he's a YouTube channel, so he uses StreamYard.
Yeah.
So you guys could always hook up on StreamYard and have Lori and I do it all the time.
DLive. That's all I'm on so far.
Yeah. And we have Max's links in our YouTube description page if anybody wants to look that up.
If you want to get off YouTube, go to DLive or Haps.
Sure. I've sporadically seen a couple of your videos, John, on reviewing as well as other subjects, and I found it interesting.
Mary.
Yeah. You should stick around to the end of the show. That's when we do our destination. That's the finale of the show.
Yeah.
The first part of the show is you getting prepared to do the destination, and then we go off to somewhere.
Yeah, he has us do objects first, objects.
I do some images, and then
images.
Yeah, I need to get you to rise, fall, that kind of thing, and then we take you right out to the stratosphere.
Yeah.
I usually do pretty darn good. It's sometimes I'm way off. But
and that's good.
Usually I do pretty good.
That's good because it's good for your ego.
Yeah, it's good for the ego, and it also when it really comes together, you feel like you've accomplished something or you've achieved something.
Yeah.
So being 100% all the time would be kind of weird. I mean, I just don't.
But it's not very common.
At first, I had trouble with not trouble. That's not the right word. He would say we would be on a image, and I start traveling. So what I did learn to do was focus and stop it. He teaches you how to breathe, cut it off, don't keep looking for it. Just get the first couple images that come to your mind and back off. Because I would get into it and I would be like somewhere else.
The mind takes over after a short period
Yeah,
of time.
I would be traveling.
When we do destinations, that's perfect.
Okay.
That's exactly what you want.
Yeah.
Right? But when we're doing images, you have to be able to hold it.
Yeah.
Mhm.
I
That's
learned to
important.
control it because I was doing destinations. I'm like, John, I don't know where the hell I am, but I'm seeing Colloidalls and
Oh, I see all
They're
you guys,
somewhere.
all the people that come, they are improving. Like you can just
Yeah.
see
Oh yeah, you
how
see the
much better they're
development.
getting.
Yep. Hmm.
you
Yep.
know?
Yeah.
It's amazing.
I watch occasionally. I watch when I have some time, extra time.
Mhm.
I don't always comment or in the chat, but I love practicing it and seeing how close I can get to it. And
Well,
it's fascinating.
you're like me. Sometimes I don't catch him live because we're
Mhm.
doing a show.
Mhm.
We've run over like this, or we're having an after show conversation.
Yeah.
But the point is, by the time I get into John's, I'm still too revved
Yeah.
from all this. And you got to empty out,
Sure. Yeah.
in order to
But
do
that's
the remote
good
viewing.
too. That's good too, because we should be able to do it on an instant, I think.
Yeah,
I
I'm
think-
working on it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Having a little distraction or being a little off, that's good.
Yeah.
Because you're still trying, and that's exercise, right?
Yeah,
That's
you get-
good
It's like a
exercise.
muscle.
I just get a little bit, but it's
Yeah.
always a piece of what everybody else is
You're
getting.
getting
That's good.
something.
It's good enough.
A
Yeah.
little
Yeah.
stress is good for you.
Yeah, except for when he tricks you.
Yeah.
God.
He had
Well,
his
you guys
destination,
get so good
and I had
at
this
it.
whole thing of Chinese, almost like Oriental style pagodas, floating in a river or a lake with bridges and causeway, and it was this cat or a dog in the bathtub upside down with with a
Well,
belly.
you guys get so good at it, I have to throw in strange stuff.
Yeah, he
Yeah.
does.
Yeah. That is funny.
It cracks everybody up, though.
I love that.
All right.
All right.
That-
Well, to catch Milky Way tomorrow night, everybody, and then Max Vision remote viewing class right after that.
Mhm.
And we'll see you all next week.
And I'm
Thank
on
you
in
so much.
15 minutes for those of you here. That
Perfect.
And if we don't see you, have a
All right.
great weekend.
Much
Peace.
Love you all. Bye-bye.